Why body shaming became so popular towards men's height. You see it as a way to get rejected by women. I see it as a way to filter out shallow bitches. I'm a short guy. I find it funny if a woman doesn't like me because of my height that's on her. I've learned to not let people's opinions bother me. I think superficial people are superficial, regardless of gender. It's a great way to find out someone is shallow from the get-go. I'm very tall, and I get two kinds of men who bother me on this topic. Men who care about height but pretend they don't. They say they don't care you're taller, but then they ask that you don't wear heels or dress down, so that you don't stand out next to him. Men who fetishize my height and everything is about them looking good because height is a status symbol. The really great guys I've dated never even mention it, they just say how much fun they have with me, and it never comes up in discussion. I know I'm insecure about my height. I'm 55. It's just human nature, people will body shame men in other places too. I know from experience. There's a lot of weird double standards when it comes to body shaming. I feel like a big part of it is that a lot of people assume that there's a mindset that comes with being short, and justify their rudeness as being about that rather than just about being short. I'm 5ft too. I very regularly hear short jokes, angry short man comments, Napoleon syndrome, etc. despite being generally pretty chill and not a particularly angry guy. I'm the sort of person who'd apologize to a lamppost for walking into it, not the yappy chihuahua in human form people seem to expect from my stature. Similarly, the comments people make about weight has a lot of double standards too. I often lean into the physical comedy of my size, both height and weight, as it takes the sting out of people doing it maliciously, but there's days when it really grates on me. I'm not sure why it's an acceptable target in the first place, but it sucks that it is. I feel like it makes a sort of cycle. For example, acting like all short men are automatically insecure, angry, or likely to get pissy when rejected is likely to make shorter guys more self-conscious and frustrated with the stereotypes and comments. Body shaming men is not frowned upon. Apparently, if someone is acting like an idiot, it's okay to say he has small dick energy. Imagine saying a woman acting stupid had slack pussy energy. It's so weird. I heard a comment taking shots at a tall football player's height. Granted, he was the shortest in the bunch, but he wasn't short by any stretch. The comments about him being short were made by other men. For me, it has been a vicious cycle. I am 5'3", 26M and have been constantly picked on by my friends wherever I go. I have tried not to let it affect me, and hence laugh off on all the jokes since I know they mean well, and TBH bullying is pretty common among boys and is considered healthy. Somehow it has affected my self-consciousness and confidence to the point that I have started avoiding my friends whenever I can and don't even talk to women since I automatically assume that I'd be judged on my height. This develops into hatred for one's body and hence developing negative feelings for yourself, and major insecurity creeps in. This is the real red flag and not the height. When people eventually see this red flag behavior, they would maintain their distance and I'd assume it's because of my height, which is where the cycle deepens further. I gotta tell you, my father was 57 and my mom was 58. His second wife was 510 and he loved when she wore heels. He was a good-looking guy, but it was confidence that put him over the edge. He used to say everybody's the same height in bed. Women are expected by society to be petite, and if we aren't, we're told we aren't good enough. Being with a man who's smaller than us makes us feel like targets for ridicule, whether that's a skinny woman taller than he is, or a woman with a significantly higher BMI than he has, regardless of relative height. Hence why many women get insecure about not being with shorter men, but I see more men than women making fun of short guys. I think the shallowness and rapidity of online dating like Tinder is a large part of it. I feel like this is a lot more common on the internet. The only time I've seen people shallow like this was on dating apps, and it was always from those who had no personality to begin with. Good girls don't care. Plenty of women want some cock mate, just a numbers game. I never understood other women being picky about height. I've never noticed a guy's height either. It's not something I've ever looked for. I've always been tall for being a girl. I'm 59, which has turned away quite a few guys, but I never cared if they were shorter or the same height. I'll just simply love a guy for who he is as a person, and that's it. Really, society can be so superficial. One time, I matched with a woman on Tinder and we made plans to meet outside a bar in a popular area near both of our apartments. I'm 169 cm, 5 feet and 6.5 inches, and I clearly stated that on my profile. The reason I do this is because I hate it when I show up for a date and the woman hasn't been truthful. When I walked up to her, I was about to tell her you look great, etc., but she cut me off and said you're short. I was taken aback by how rude she was and said, yeah, I know. Why is that a problem? So she responded very loudly that I lied on my profile. I became really angry, pulled up my profile, showed it to her, and said I said 169, you can see it here. She looked at my phone, scoffed, and said, "Ooh, there's no way you're 169. I personally consider that as a filter. If someone doesn't like me for my height, then I'll gladly stay away from them. Being short has its advantages. If what one says hurts someone else's feelings, then one should reevaluate their words. We do not need to be cruel towards anyone, that is it. Just be nice if it's your friend. Playful banter is fine, but online it's hate and mean. For the same reason women get shamed for having flat asses and breasts. Height in men is an attractive male trait, just like having curved hips, but breasts is an attractive trait on women. But not all men have height and not all women have curves. There's biological factors there, but I'm not getting into all of that. We all know they are generally considered very well received and attractive traits by most people. It doesn't mean you're unattractive if you lack them. It does mean there are shallow, tactless people who will try to make you feel bad for it though. Either other people of the same sex to feel superior to you or from the opposite sex to let you know you're not up to their standard. The takeaway is there's always going to be assholes, and you shouldn't let some assholes' opinions of such things be of much importance to you. Body shaming is always going to exist, unfortunately. The best you can do is steer clear of people who say things like this and associate with people who are against it. Give it as little power as possible.